Okay, you are all welcome. We want to go to the second commandment. But before we go to the second commandment, let us first review the first one. The Bible says from the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 1 to 2. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. You come to verse 3, it's where we find the commandment. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. So we think yesterday we spoke much about this. Today, I want us to begin from verse 4 to 6. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord, thy God, am jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Let's come to the second commandment. And the second commandment says, Thou shalt not make idols. Idolatry, in one way or another, has been the exercise of human history to date. The genesis of idolatry is in the mind of man. God created man in his own image, and after the fall of man set out and attempted to graft skills to fashion idols. Man began falling down to worship them, and this was an abomination to God. Man began to seek compassion from the statue with no heart, with eyes but cannot perceive, with ears but cannot hear. He began to devote himself to a graven image. But my question now is, what is required in the second commandment? The second commandment requires the receiving, requires the observing, requires the keeping pure and entire all such religious worship and ordinances as God had appointed in his words. When we read from the book of Deuteronomy 32 and Acts chapter 2, verse 42, and also Matthew chapter 28, verse 20. Second question, what is forbidden in the second commandment? And from being dead the worshipping of God by images or any way not appointed in his word. The same Exodus chapter 32 verse 8 and Deuteronomy 12 31 to 32 can explain more about this. Worshipping is exceedingly important to God. Therefore, God himself seeks true worshippers who can worship him in spirit and in truth. God does not want these people to make themselves carved images in order to bow down to them. It also commands that God must be worshipped according to his own instructions and not according to human devised methods. I want to give you an example from the book of John, chapter 4, verse 20 to 24. Is where we find conversation between Jesus and the Samaritan woman. Samaritan woman told Jesus that they, Samaritans, worship Samaritans, believed that Mount Gerizim is the sacred mountain, a mountain chosen by God because when we come to geographical maps, this a location where Joshua also built an altar. So Samaritans used to follow some what we call Samaritan Pentateuch. Samaritan Pentateuch are considered the Anathat Torah, and they maintained that true worship occurs Gerizim rather than Jerusalem. This is the time when Jesus corrected her about the true worship. And he taught her that true worshippers must worship God in spirit and in truth. Where from book of John, chapter 4, verse 23 to 24. So let's come to a question like, what kind of house or a place can we build for? And the answer is that God does not demand any house or any place for him to live, except having a place in the heart of man. So this is my request. Open your heart so that God may enter in. Have a place for God. Have a place for Jesus. Let him lead you the way. Let him show you what to do according to his word. And don't dare to bow down to worship any creation that God had created. Rather, you are supposed to worship Creator Himself. Is there any question? Okay. Have a blessed time.